Hey, it's Colter and Meredith talking to Josh Dunn from 21 Pilots about the band's new single, Level of Concern. Josh, how are you handling isolation?
I think pretty well. It's like I think I saw like a meme the other day that or something, kind of a joke about all these people who are just like, it's really not that much different for me. Like, this is, life isn't that much different. And I laughed because I've kind of been saying that for a while. When we're not on the road, I think Tyler and I are both kind of the type of people who like to just stay at home. And so, I sit a lot and I think about all the people who it's really tough right now, whether they themselves or people that they know are getting sick, but also, the reality of just a job situation and kind of stressing about getting back to work and, getting an income. And so I think about that a lot. And I miss touring for sure. There's some stuff on our calendar that just didn't work out this year. And so that's tough. But I think other than that, I think that I try to stay pretty busy at home. I've got drums here at the house that I truly play every day, and I try to just kind of stay active, whether it's going for runs or riding my bike or kind of just doing some exercise stuff in the yard. I think among all that stuff, I'm pretty busy.
Now, you've also mentioned, you're watching Tiger King. So the question is, do you think that Carol Baskin killed her husband?
Yeah, I mean, who didn't watch that, I guess, first of all? And documentaries are funny. I think it's there are people really good at their jobs who really can kind of make you believe whatever they want. And but with that said, I mean, she definitely did, right?
When you look at all the facts, yeah, 100% she did. No.
You kind of feel bad because, like, she like got away with this thing potentially years and years ago, and then someone decided to make a documentary about it, and now she's fully exposed.
Yeah, and what a documentary. It's, I noticed that both you and Tyler watched it. I think the entire world collectively was watching it, and it was kind of something that we needed because, I mean, you were touching on how this is a difficult time and kind of a dark time for a lot of people. And yet somehow, despite it being such a difficult time and despite the time that you invested into Tiger King, you guys managed to come up with what we've been lovingly calling here at the radio station the coronavirus anthem, Level of Concern. It's a jam. It's such a positive sounding song.
Well, thanks. Yeah, Tyler is my favorite songwriter, and I think that ultimately he's great at writing happy sounding songs, and a lot of times he'll fight that within himself and try to write, and try to kind of dirty something up a little bit, and it's fun to work with him and come up with all sorts of different feels and styles, and something feels a little bit darker, something feels a little bit lighter. For this one, it really felt like it just needed to be a lighter feeling song, and something that's a little bit more distractible. I think that a lot of times the idea of songs for us, I mean, songs that we grew up listening to and songs that we've written too, the idea is to kind of think a little bit. And right now in particular, everybody's just thinking so much. We're like all home and we're kind of stuck thinking, and that's really it. So it feels like a song at this time maybe would be a little bit more suited to sort of distract the thoughts a little bit into just a different place. And so the kind of a little more upbeat and happy feel of this song, I think, caters to that a little bit.
It does, and it's a great song, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I downloaded it immediately. I've listened to it over and over again, and then you watch the music video, and it's so fun, and I think that it's such a great look into each of your personal lives as well. Where did the idea to film the music video like that and that whole storyline kind of come from? How did you guys come up with that?
Well, it came up remotely, that's for sure. We have done, so this whole process was the most kind of separated that Tyler and I have been in kind of creating and recording any song, which was a cool experiment. And I think it turned out really well. Because of just the circumstances, obviously you can't get like a team of people together to film a music video. A lot of these videos in the recent past that we've done have, some of them been up to 50 people on set at once. And that's, maybe there's some extras on set, or there's some, there's people helping out with cameras and what we're wearing and overseeing all sorts of the logistics. And this one really was pared down to really just us. And I think that it felt reminiscent of the kind of first videos that we used to shoot were just us. And so I think it was kind of trying to recreate that in a way, and also kind of like think about how do we, the idea even of putting on a show is kind of how do we, what production elements can we add at a low budget and without much help. And so we kind of just we just kind of decided that we wanted to make it as DIY as possible, and then sort of show the behind the scenes of that, and just grab our significant others and have them help and be a part of it. And it ended up being really fun to do.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping you were going to shoot it over Zoom, because I think a lot of us have been spending a lot of time on Zoom. But you guys are actually donating proceeds of the song to people in the industry who might have been affected, who, we're not seeing concerts right now, so might not have gigs. Why is this so important to you?
Yeah, well, I think for Tyler and I, for the past 10 years or so, maybe a little longer, music, touring has just been the biggest part of our lives, usually. And some people on our crew have been around really since day one. And so I think that during this time, as, shows and festivals get canceled or rescheduled, and we kind of have to kind of cope with that. We can't help but also think about all of the people that really affects as well, in terms of kind of financially and the job aspect. And so partnering with Crew Nation just made total sense to us, to try and have a little bit of relief for those people who are constantly on the road. And, a lot of those crew guys, even when we're off the road, a lot of times Tyler and I are kind of working on new music and writing and recording, and those guys go off and they, some of them work for other bands and continue to stay on the road. And that's truly how they make their living. And so throughout this whole process, as people have kind of found themselves stuck at home, without a job, that's scary. And it just felt like the most sense to kind of work with Crew Nation to try and relieve those people in the music industry as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What Crew Nation is doing is really cool too, because I think you're right. I think that a lot of fans tend to overlook these people, right? Like, we see musicians and we see it's just Tyler and Josh, and like, yeah, they can't tour, but they're probably doing fine because they're rock stars and they have so much money. But you don't think about the trickle down effect of all these people. So I think it's incredible that you guys are donating proceeds to Crew Nation. Listen, we know you got to run because you're doing a whole bunch of these today, but we want to say thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the single. A happy, upbeat song like that in these times is so important, and we're loving giving it lots of spins here on the station.
Well, thank you for playing it. That means a lot to us, and makes it worth it to keep writing. So thank you.
Well, and let's all make sure that Carol Baskin sees justice in 2020.
Yeah,